You have to unmute, Michael.
I guess I have to unmute myself. Sorry, everybody. Thanks about that. It's Zoom 101. But they are targeting you on your computer, on your phone, by text, by email. They are waiting, spying, and gathering your personal information. It could be devastating finding out that you are a family member or victim of a scam. But all this month, LI Herald and AARP has been bringing you a series of digital webinars with the most valuable information for you and your loved ones on fighting fraud. So please share this recording, by the way, with all of your loved ones, anybody you know. Even if you're not watching it live, if you're seeing this online, you should be sharing this. I'm Michael Himman. I'm the executive editor of Herald Community Newspapers. This is the part 3 of our Fighting Fraud series. And over the next hour, we're going to learn how to recognize the most common romance scams. They can be emotionally and financially devastating. And all of this leads up to our big event on Saturday. This Saturday, 2 days from now, right? Let's say Thursday. And we are doing a shredding event this Saturday. It's going to be right here at our offices in Garden City at 2 Endo Boulevard. We're going to give you more details about that. But if you really want to get stuff shredded and you want to find a place to do it, this is the perfect place. Just go to liherald.com/shred. And we can definitely do that. But let's introduce our panel. Joining us once again is Bernard Macias. He is the Associate State Director of AARP on Long Island. Also, we have Donna Harris, the Public Information Representative for the United States Postal Inspection Service Headquarters. And then it's rejoining us, coming back again, is Michael Del Giudice. He is the Postal Inspector and Team Leader for the New York Division. And welcome, everybody. And Bernard, welcome. How are we all doing today?
We are good. And today will mark our last of our webinars. So we're really happy to have so many of you join us for a very, last of the 3 webinars that we have been working on. Greetings, everyone. On behalf of AARP New York, welcome. This is, again, our webinar series, Fighting Against Fraud. My name is Bernard Macias. I am the Associate State Director for Community Outreach and Engagement for AARP right here on Long Island. We have about 500,000 members across Nassau and Suffolk. Nationwide, AARP has 38 million members. Just to give you some stats there, and a little bit more about AARP, we're the nation's largest nonpartisan, nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older, how they choose as they live, as they age. And we work to strengthen communities. So we advocate for what matters most to our members, their families, with a very special focus on health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. So if you remember anything about AARP, remember that we're all about health, wealth, and self. And that's why we're so excited to partner with AARP, New York and Herald to bring this 3-part series, which does end today. But like Michael said, we do have an in-person shredding event this coming Saturday on April 30th. Yep. April 30th, Saturday, April 30th. And this is all about protecting your wealth, right? So that's why we brought our good friends again from the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. We believe that the scams that we've been talking about are the ones that you should really be particularly aware of to protect yourself and your family. And knowledge is power. So please pay attention and share what you learned today. So, we've covered identity theft. Last week we covered elder fraud, and today is all about romance. Romance scams for people 50 plus and older is a growing scam. People are going online in hopes of finding love. And sadly, the cyberspace world is full of scammers, and they're taking advantage of people. You want to learn today how to protect yourself. Those monetary losses from these cons are sadly money that you never see back. So again, pay attention today. Mike, right back to you in the program.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Bernard. It's so important. Donna, it's great seeing you again this week. You look great as ever. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is our last presentation for this program, Fighting Against Fraud. So I want to say again, thank you to AARP and the Long Island Herald Initiative for putting all this together and for inviting us to be here to talk about fraud. That's one of the things, that's our cornerstone as the United States Postal Inspection Service. We've been investigating these crimes since our inception in 1775. And in 1872, this is just a bit of history, that's when the mail fraud statute was enacted. And so we've done a lot of work in this area and we love sharing this information. So I'm going to share my screen, I hope, and get everybody going on this. You just bear with me one moment, get everybody going on romance scams. Can you see that, Michael? You can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, we're cooking with gas. Romance scams, don't get fooled by love. So let me tell you a little bit about the Postal Inspection Service. As I was saying earlier, law enforcement has an important role in combating fraud. And protect, prevent, enforce, and prepare, that's part of our integral to our mission at the United States Postal Inspection Service. Our goal is to protect customers by making it more difficult for scammers to find and manipulate victims, prevent victimization by shutting these scams down, identify the heads of these organizations, and bring them to justice, whether we have to extradite them or if they're in the United States, bringing them to justice. And as I alluded to, we enforce over 200 federal statutes ranging from mail theft to mail fraud, crimes, bombs in the mail, prohibited mailing, child exploitation, and preparing is what we're doing today. And that's part of our focus on increasing public awareness. And this presentation will do that. So with romance scams, everyone wants to be in love, but when love costs you your life savings, there is a problem. Today, we're going to discuss some details on how you can protect yourself from a romance scam. I'm gonna turn it over now to Michael Del Giudice, who's our Postal Inspector Team Leader, who will go over a few additional pointers on how to protect yourself. Michael? Are you on? You're on mute.
Sorry,
right?
I was muted. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks, Donna. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And as Donna said, this is a very important topic to discuss as well as the other topics that we've discussed in the series. So certainly nowadays, with the advent of technology, the internet, there's a lot of dating sites and dating apps that are out there. No longer is it when back in the day, if you wanted to meet someone, you would maybe go to a bar or something like that, or a club and try and meet people. Now it's all about different dating sites or seeing online profiles. So we're going to get a little bit into that, some of the things to avoid and to hopefully protect yourselves from becoming a victim of a scam. So next slide, please, Donna. Thank you. So the lure, right? So what is everybody looking for, right? Like a good match. You go on maybe a dating website. There are several out there. There's Tinder. There's Match.com. There's a bunch of different dating sites out there. Even through Facebook, maybe people try to meet one another through Facebook friends. But what's the lure? What's someone looking for? They're looking for someone that's successful, maybe a businessman or maybe an armed forces person, someone in the military, or perhaps a student or a teacher. So scammers will create these online profiles, and they'll actually use photographs that are stolen from the internet. If someone, maybe an armed forces person or a teacher or a businessman, has their Facebook profile or LinkedIn profile set up, and they put photos up because they want to show what's going on in their life or places that they've been. Scammers will steal these photos because they look legitimate, or they are legitimate photos, but they just don't belong to that scammer. For those of you that aren't aware of the term catfishing basically means where you're pretending to be someone that you're not. A scammer is pretending to be someone that they're not in order to get you to start a conversation with them or to try and lure you in, and the ultimate goal is to get your money. So again, if the intended victim maybe is a woman or a female, the fake identity is usually a businessman or someone that's in the military. If it's a male victim, we see that the profile might be a teacher or a student, or even a model that someone may have stolen their photo offline. So next slide, please, Donna. So after these profiles are created, then what happens? The scammers will start maybe, if you're looking on a dating app or on Facebook or something, maybe you start a chat or a communication with them. And then once these scammers get in touch with you, then they start to use tactics that are very similar to, perhaps child predators, where, they'll start telling you personal facts. They'll emotionally get you to trust them. And they'll, by talking with you, by saying the right words, by sharing maybe intimacies. Also, they'll put in as an authority figure, maybe a policeman or, a military person or a diplomat or a doctor, to try and add credibility to their story. And then, as we go up the chain, as you can see on the love meter, love me and then trust me, they'll bring in the trust. That's when, it kind of turns now from, oh, I need help, I've maybe been in an accident, or, I want to come and see you, and I, want to meet you, and I want to spend my time with you, but, I'm in this country right now, and I can't get out, so can you please send me money? So, I need your help me. And then ultimately, they hope to get you to send them money to the pay me side of things. So, again, at the end of the day, their ultimate goal after, grooming you or grooming the person, or maybe like a loved one or something, after trusting them, and then they, to get you to send money for some reason or another. So next slide, please, Donna.
Okay, well, next slide is a video that I'm going to be sharing with everyone. It's called Crime Without Blood, and it's a partnership through a mass mailing initiative, a marketing fraud initiative, and it comes from the Netherlands, and it's an animated video, but it really describes just how someone feels when the euphoria of being in love, and then shows the letdown of a romance scam. Okay, that video really represents just what happens if you get involved in a romance scam. You know, it goes back to the four C's that we talked about earlier in this series: call, coach, convince, and collect. That's what they're looking to do in a romance scam. Michael?
Thanks, Donna. So yeah, just to reiterate what Donna had said, you know, the internet did a lot of great things, but it also, you know, created a lot more avenues for fraud to occur, especially, again, with dating sites and apps and chats and messengers and Facebook even. You know, it's very easy to become very trusting. You know, the internet allows you to be anonymous, right? I mean, I can put up a photo of, you know, Superman, and maybe that's what, you know, I want everybody to perceive that I look like. And I think the biggest thing as well when you're on these sites to think about is a lot of, when we don't see someone face to face or in person, or even if they send the picture, we kind of use our imaginations to draw what that person might look like. That fits within, you know, our idea of what the, you know, the perfect person would be, or what this person would look like based on the conversations that we're having with them, you know, online. You know, the biggest thing as well is, you know, it's very hard to determine, you know, if you're talking to someone real or not. Obviously, there's someone on the other side of the, you know, the dating site or on the chat or the messenger that you're communicating with, but you just don't know who they are. And unfortunately, like, you know, the video illustrated, you know, everything starts with the, you know, the meeting or the introduction, and then things become more intimate, and you see, like, you know, oh, I love you, I can't wait to see you. And then, you know, on his calendar, as you saw in the video, was marked off when, you know, Isabella, who is the fictitious girl that he thought he was speaking with, you know, was supposed to come visit. And then all of a sudden on the day that she's supposed to come and visit, something happens. She was in an accident. She needs money. Can you please send it? So, again, this is the grooming portion of how, you know, that we're setting the stage. Like, it starts with a little bit of chit-chat, and then you share personal feelings. And then, you know, on the other side, they're feeding into whatever you're saying from your end, and then ultimately just what's the end game for them is to get, you know, to get money. So, you know, where does the money go? It definitely is. It's very hard to get back, especially if it goes overseas. And a lot of times, you know, we find that a lot of these subjects are overseas. You know, they'll ask for money via Western Union or MoneyGram or maybe Cash App or Venmo, and unfortunately, you know, once the money goes that way, it's near impossible to get back. You know, especially, you know, if you've ever used these payments like Venmo or like Zelle, you know, once you say it, it says, like, are you sure you're sending it to the right person? Because once you send it, like, you know, the money's gone. Some of the other things that they may ask for too are money packs or gift cards to like Amazon or Apple or any of those like popular vendors, and then what they'll ask for is like, oh, just send me the code that's on the back. Like, even if you didn't send the physical gift card, once they have that code, that's all they need, and that money is gone. Wired money, reload cards, gift cards, they get it quickly, and it's anonymous, and again, it's near impossible to reverse. Back in 2021, Postal Inspectors, we had a case within the inspection service that had over 200 victims of romance scams and losses over $2.5 million. As a matter of fact, in New York, we had someone here on Long Island who was a victim of a romance scam. You know, fortunately for her, we were able to help her out. She had sent some money, and we were able to actually you know, intercept that money and get it back to her. But it's all age groups. It's you know, it's very easy. People are, you know, unfortunately looking for romance, and especially in the time of COVID as well, where everybody was kind of you know, confined to the home, didn't get to go out, you know, as much because of the virus. You know, I think there was a lot more dating or communication being online, and a lot more potential for these scams. Next slide, please, Donna. You know, and as the slide said, like, love hurts. Like, you know, people do very interesting things when they think they're falling in love or they're in love with someone. a scammer that's on may get you or a victim, a family member or a friend or someone to turn on their webcam, saying that they want to get to know you better, they want to see you better, and then but they won't turn their camera on. They say, oh, I don't have a camera, or my camera's not working, or I can't get it to work. So again, they'll see you. It's always one-sided. So some of the telltale signs to look out for are, if everything's always one-sided, like you're being asked to do something, you're being asked to turn your camera on, you're being asked to send money, you're being asked to give them information, but they don't really share, the same type of information back, then, those are certainly red flags. I mean, they may share information too, but, sometimes it's not legitimate information. It's just made up information. So, and again, like just going back to like the webcam, as, your relationship becomes more intimate, perhaps the scammer convinces like the victim to disrobe or to do some sort of like sexual act, for the camera, or send them a photo or something like that. Now they have that. And, if you're trying to, and I shouldn't keep saying you, but say the victim tries to attempt to end a relationship, the scammer may threaten, to send that picture as a form of blackmail, or that act, right? It's very embarrassing, or post it on the internet. So, again, like just any family members, friends, anyone that you spread the message to, like, who's looking for love and who thinks they found it, you want to, caution them and warn them, don't do these things. If you've never met this person, don't give them pictures, don't give them your bank account information, don't send them money. I mean, again, they're just looking for some sort of excuse. And this isn't going to happen, day one. This is going to be the first, quote unquote interaction, or the first date. They're going to be very patient, and they're going to stick with it. It could be months, that you have conversations and stuff, until they know that you feel comfortable, or the victim feels comfortable with them, and then they're gonna, then they'll start asking for money or start asking for things. And, that's the time where, again, don't let your guard down, or victims shouldn't let their guard down. Next slide, please, Donna. Thank you. So what's the general profile? General profile, usually, 40-year-olds to 60-year-olds, and again, in a time of, the pandemic, that we've been through for the past two plus years, that range is probably expanded. It's probably been a lot younger, younger folks too, that have been out there looking for love, or looking to try and, make acquaintances, or get some sort of emotional connection. What middle-aged people generally susceptible, because those who are lonely are looking for love. Those who, may have been divorced, or may have lost a loved one for some reason or another, and are just looking for that need for love. You may be very quick to overshare information. You may share a vulnerability online and give scammers information, about you that you wouldn't normally give to somebody else, because they're on the other end of a computer. But they will use that information, against you, to try and get ultimately, money out of you. And it's not just women; it's men too. It's both women are fall victim to these scammers. Next slide, please, Donna.
Yeah, I want to just add to that. I think it's a false concept that a lot of people believe that it's mostly women. I think the problem is that maybe men don't report it as much because of the embarrassment, and the crime in general is underreported because they're embarrassed that they would fall victim to this type of scam. So as we're going to talk about, and you'll hear throughout this presentation, reporting is the number one key. Don't let the scammer make you feel embarrassed, or anyone else, because things happen, and we have to make certain that we put those steps in place, and we talk to people so it doesn't happen to them.
Right. And that's a big thing. And I'll just emphasize what Donna said. I mean, yeah, if someone was scammed, or, you lose money, and, you kind of, or a victim, you generally beat yourself up because you're embarrassed. Like, oh, how did this happen? How did this happen? But, reporting it, going to law enforcement, going to, AARP has some great resources, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, like a lot of resources to report these. And that's how you break the cycle, basically, because these scammers will just continue if it never gets reported. You know, and also just from an emotional standpoint, you know, victims need help as well, especially if they thought they were in love with a person or made that emotional connection. So in this slide, you know, this is a victim, actually a victim's quote. The thing, you know, they say that this is the thing they had the most trouble with. They had his pictures in his house for a year and talked to this person for so long. Even when they was told it was a scam, the feelings didn't change. They didn't go away, and nobody understands that. So, yeah, I mean, this was a photo that was stolen in the upper left-hand corner. You know, someone, you know, businessman's picture was used somewhere on the internet. Someone just got it, you know, posted it and said that was them. So the person believed for over a year that they were chatting with this person without ever having like a video chat or anything like that. Just this picture. And at the bottom, you see the picture of like, these are the actual scammers. They're sitting in some internet cafe in a foreign country, you know, working from a script that they have, and, you know, getting personal details on the victim. Because once that victim makes that connection and, you know, shares the profile and says, oh, here's my Facebook profile, here's my Instagram profile, here's whatever profile, like the more information that you put online or a victim puts online that isn't, you know, secure, that anybody can see, scammers will take that and they'll use it. Because at the end of the day, they have nothing better to do but sit in these internet cafes and get information and details on victims, and to try and perpetuate their fraud, to try and make it look legitimate, to try and make things look real. And, you know, again, they're not, you know, most likely not working. Like, this is their job. Their job is to sit, you know, 7 days a week, however many hours a day, just try to elicit money from victims from either a romance scam or a grandparent scam or some other type of fraud. And again, just going back, like knowing that, you know, this victim is knowing that she was scammed, like still couldn't break that emotional attachment with the person that she thought she was dealing with for over a year. You know, signs: victims may experience grief, loss, depression. Some feel violated. Some may be fearful. You know, that, look, I'm a victim. This person has my personal information. Are they going to come after me? They're going to come and get me if I don't. Like, in general, no, that's not going to happen. These scammers are in a foreign country, and all they want is money. Once they have your money, they'll try and get more, and if they can't, they'll stop and they'll move on to someone else. The part of it too is, like, again, the embarrassment, the emotional drain, you know, feeling worse if you tell your family, or a victim tells their family, because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed that, you know, how did this happen? Financial loss. I mean, they may also be, you know, fearful of the type of reaction that family would have. You know, maybe, you know, calling them, you know, stupid or silly or foolish, and you know, this is part of like the uphill battle. But, you know, once you get past that initial fear of the embarrassment or what someone else might say, you know, you can move on. I mean, this is the problem. Again, if you don't recognize it, if you hide it, then that's only going to, you know, feed into these scammers and allow them to keep scamming other people. The denial is a thing that we face, you know, every day, trying to help victims, be it, again, romance scams, lottery scams, other types of scams. Like, we try to explain that, you know, you will have been victimized, and it's very difficult for victims to believe it. And when they're in denial and don't believe it, and don't believe that law enforcement is telling them, then the opportunity exists for them to be victimized again and keep being re-victimized, because they refuse to accept the fact that they were scammed. But if you take a step back and look at, you know, really what's happened, like, you know, look at the telltale signs. I've only communicated with this person, you know, through a chatting app, or I've only spoken to this person, you know, maybe over the phone, but I've never seen them in person. I've never done a video call with them. I've never met up with them. And ultimately, like, they've always asked the victim or asked me for stuff, but never reciprocated. So again, these are signs. Next slide, please, Donna. Again, you know, it's a romance scams, very costly scam. There's, I guess, the Federal Trade Commission reported that there was $547 million in losses to romance scam in 2021. And that's about a 78% increase since 2020. And again, maybe that was because a lot of, everybody was staying home, wasn't going out as much, was probably on the internet more, was trying to find that emotional connection while they were there, while they were at home. And the number's probably higher too because it was underreported. Again, for one reason or another, for the embarrassment, for the fear of retribution. And again, the older adults are generally targeted more so because they probably have more significant financial resources, more money, income, savings, a home. And I guess the largest median loss that was being reported was about $9,000, per individual. Next slide, please, Donna.
Yes, and I know someone who lost their entire 401k to a romance scammer, and unfortunately, they had to go back to work as a result of that. So this scam has such long range impact, negative impact if you're involved in this. So what we're telling you today, a scammer would say, oh, it's not true. I'm not a scammer. They just say that, I love you. I want to be with you. But when you hear but, or you hear well, or those type of words, that it's not true. So I always say, move on from there. So this is a video. I'm going to share this video as well. This is Inspector Adam Lathan talking about a romance scam that he investigated. Just bear with me 1 second. I'll share this.
A soldier on duty, travel photos, even pictures with family. Photos you might see on social media sites. However, these pictures were used to lure women into a scam that cost them thousands of dollars.
Oftentimes, the fraudsters will look for photos of men in the military, and they'll play on the sympathies of women that they have for people in the armed forces.
Fraudsters steal photos like these and then, pretending to be the people in the pictures, post them on internet dating sites where they troll for women.
The typical victim that we've uncovered is a middle-aged divorced woman in the U.S. They use stolen credit cards to send them flowers and teddy bears and chocolates. They literally do groom them over months at a time. They chat with them hours a day.
After gaining their trust, the scheme begins.
And at some point down the line, they are told that there's a financial emergency. Their credit cards don't work overseas, or there's some kind of business emergency, and they're told to send some money.
Many victims send that money, only to learn they've been scammed. Postal inspectors say millions of dollars have been lost in so-called sweetheart schemes across the U.S.
The women were typically told to send several $100s at a time. That is kind of a convenient amount to send through Western Union or MoneyGram.
The money is one part, but the psychological damage is another.
There is a lot of trust involved with them thinking that they were in love with a man. They're embarrassed at the amount of money they lost. They don't want their family members to know. They don't want their employers to know.
Postal inspectors say women need to be very careful about online relationships.
This case really is just another variation of a fraud scam that I've investigated for close to 10 years. Criminals are greedy. This is just another method for them to obtain money from vulnerable victims.
So as this said, it's just another way to scam you out of your money. Mike?
Thanks, Donna. Yeah, so again, he did say, as we said earlier, it's not just women, it's men and women who, are scammed. But again, protect yourself, protect your victims' family members, is, certain signs to look out for too. Like, just think about it. It's the age-old saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? So, is your relationship getting intense? You're getting constant messages or calls. Scammers tend to work fast. They're going to move quickly from, being flirtatious to profess their love, and then ultimately, once they gain your trust, then they're going to request money. When they're going to, are they working in a foreign country? I mean, that's like another telltale sign I've seen, like, oh, well, I'm here, I'm stationed at this, military base, or my company has sent me here, and I'll be working here for the next year, so, like, we can't meet, but, I'd love to meet you, or I'm planning a trip, like, I can't wait to see you, I want to see you so bad that I'm going to, take a trip, and I'm going to come visit you, and then again, on the day of, the trip, something happens, they got into an accident, they got arrested, they need money, please, can you send money to help them out? If you can answer yes to any of these questions on the screen, then definitely be on your guard. Most likely, they're a scammer just trying to get money. Next slide, please, Donna. So be cautious. All right. This is the main thing. The internet, like I said, it's a great thing. It's opened up communications. I mean, emails, being able to do online shopping. But with the benefits of it also comes, the negative stuff, the scams, the cons. It's very easy because again, we're sitting behind a computer. We don't know what the person, looks like on the other side of that computer. I mean, if I put a still photo of myself up, I could again say I'm Harry Styles, or I'm, any famous actor, or maybe some model's photo that I found on the web, online, and just put down, and that's my profile picture. Keep your personal information private. Be cautious. Don't be too trusting until you've met in person. On your cell phone, make sure you turn off, like if you're taking pictures, turn off your location settings in your phone. It's very easy to do, so that when you take a picture and then you post it, it doesn't have like where the photo is. When you're speaking with someone online who professes their love for you, or is romancing you, or a victim, check out the image, the name, the email address. Do a search. I mean, Google has this great filter in it where you can actually upload a photo to it and then run a search for that image, and it'll pop up like images where this image has been seen before. I actually had a case many years ago where I did that when it was first coming out. An individual who was overseas had sent a photo of someone that was here in the U.S. and was trying to groom them. And I did some searches and I took that photo, and I found out that the person that photo was an actor in like New Zealand or Australia. So run these images. Do a search for the name. Do a search for the email address. Don't overlook the obvious, or try and explain or rationalize the doubts that you may have. Biggest warning again, like when they start asking for personal information, bank account numbers, money, compromising photos, that sort of stuff. Be very weary of that. Don't send it, because once it's there, then they're going to use that to hold it over your head. Don't divulge your last name, your address, any personal details, because again, they'll use those against you. Asking for money, that's the biggest flag. Also, listen to their stories. Check any inconsistencies in the story that you may be getting from them. Do they say that they love you too quickly? Do they, plan to visit you but cancel at the last minute? Like, these are again telltale signs. Slide, please, Donna. So, helping victims. If either like you or someone you know is a victim in any type of scam, again, we've seen this not only in romance scams but in lottery scams. Like, eliminate contact with a scammer. Screen any calls that you may be getting with your caller ID. Get call blocking or change your number. List it with the number that keeps calling you with the do not call registry, and hopefully they'll take that number out of service. The biggest thing is just stopping all communication with the scammer, because all they're going to keep doing is calling or messaging, trying to get more money and trying to figure out some way. And then at some point, they may, use scare tactics too to try and keep getting money. But at the end of the day, they're in some foreign country. They're not going to, come to your house. What we have seen with some of these scammers, not necessarily romance scams, but other frauds, is they may call the local pizza place and order a pizza and have it delivered to your house with some sort of message that they give. But again, these are just scare tactics. They're in some foreign country. They're never going to come to you. The best thing again is just stop all communication, and then they'll go away. Also be aware, like, scammers can use other people's information. They can mask their names, their phone numbers. You want to sign up for any robo-blocking services what a phone carrier might have, or again, a call blocking device. And just at the end of the day, just eliminate contact with the scammer. Next slide, please, Donna. So, help victims. Biggest thing, sever the financial ties to the scammer. Shut off the flow of funds. If there's money that's going out, if they have your bank account information or the victim's bank account information, change the bank accounts. Don't give them access to that. Any passwords or banking details that may have been shared, you want to move your money and change your details right away. Bank employees will work with you. But the biggest thing is to, help victims to sever the financial ties to the scammer, because at the end of the day, that's all they're trying to get is just money. In terms of, next slide, please. And the biggest thing is helping a victim, right? Emotional support. That's the biggest thing. We've talked about them, scammers, making victims fall in love with them or make them have a sense that they're going to, marry them or come visit them, but something's happened and they need this money, or after they found out maybe they sent money and they've been scammed. Offer emotional support, try and get them help. Scammers are always trying to talk about love, hope, and happiness, and then at the end, when this person thinks that they have that all with this person on the other end of the screen or on the other end of the telephone, it's shattered. Like, now they come to the realization that, they've been scammed or they've been a victim and this person doesn't really exist. So you definitely want to, help the victims with offering personal, support, positive messages. And again, I think when, as law enforcement, when we try, or even you as a family member of a victim or a friend try to say, like, you're being scammed, the biggest thing that, they don't want to believe it, because they've fallen in love with this notion of this person on the other end who loves them because they're lonely or they need that emotional, love. And now, by believing what law enforcement is saying, or what you as a friend or a family member is telling them the opposite, like, you're essentially shattering this imagination or this world that they've built, and now they're going to lose it all. So it's very difficult for them in that standpoint to, kind of right away say, oh, I've been scammed. Yes, you're right. So it's going to take them a bit. So, support is always the biggest thing. Maybe health professionals too can, maybe something that a victim needs. If, they don't have support from family or friends who are angry because, they've lost money. $9,000 is a lot of money, but as Donna said earlier, there are people who've lost life savings to scammers because they thought that they were in love. So, and depending how that money was sent, or it's gone. It's not going to be recoverable. I mean, there are some instances where maybe we can get it back, depending if we're quick enough, if we find out early enough, we're able to get it back. But once it leaves the United States, once it leaves the country, it's very difficult to get back. Please, Tom.
Sure.
Sure.
So, okay, so my screen decided to freeze, but no problem.
Well, that happens sometimes. You know how technology is.
Yes. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So, and it's all about reporting, Mike, you want to talk to them about a little bit about reporting this and where to get information?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely there's a lot of different places that you can report this information. Again, the local police department will be able to, take a police report. You can go to the FTC's website, the Federal Trade Commission, and report it. AARP certainly has a wealth of information that I'm sure Bernard will talk about too, that you can report it. Again, local authorities. Also, like one thing, and that I guess was kind of didn't really touch on the presentation, but we talk about like romance scams, but also I guess as part of this romance scam is some sort of marriage, like some foreigner communicating and wanting to come over and potentially marry a U.S. citizen so that they can gain citizenship. So, if that does happen, there is the United States USCIS, which is the United States Citizens and Immigration Services. They would handle any complaints related to a marriage fraud or a sham marriage, because a lot of times, again, that will be used where foreigners, for a multitude of reasons, just for a better life, for maybe it's a national security issue or something like that, will try and prey upon victims of romance scams to just get U.S. citizenship, and then once they're here, then they'll claim asylum, or the United States has a few laws that may protect them and get them here as victims. So that's definitely something that can be reported to the government as well. The inspection service, we certainly, our website, uspis.gov/tips-prevention. We have a lot of information on our website as well that you can, or victims can be directed to. I guess we'll do the questions afterwards, or?
Yeah, we'll do the questions afterwards. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Bernard to talk about the AARP Fraud Watch Network and what resources they have available. And that'll cover the next two slides.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Michael. Sure, AARP Fraud Watch Network is a nationwide effort that our national office has available to everyone. It's a great way to really arm yourself with more information on how to spot and avoid scams. You can check us out at aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. You can also sign up for watchdog alerts that we have, so you can learn about the new scams that are happening, because there's always a new scam that's going on, and you want to be able to learn about it and avoid it. I mean, I just learned just last night that a big scam that's happening is the QR codes. QR codes are being used to scam people. And now, the pandemic kind of brought back QR codes to restaurants so that people can view their menu. But now QR codes are being used to scam people. So there's always new information that we're offering you through AARP Fraud Watch Network. You can also text FWN to 50757 to do and sign up for those watchdog alerts. You can also call our helpline. We have 877-908-3360 to report a scam and receive additional help. Of course, you can always contact the New York State Attorney General's office. They have a helpline, 800-771-7755, or visit their website at ag.ny.gov.
And of course, thank you, Bernard. Of course, you can always contact, the Postal Inspection Service if there's a nexus to the U.S. mail with regards to a romance scam, or you receive anything in the communication in the mail. Or, if you're unsure of where to go, you go to your local police department. And it's not unusual to see the Postal Inspection Service involved in cases of this, even if you have communicated with the individual online and you wired the money. And, it's a lot of factors that would determine how far, our involvement in the case, but certainly always report it. It's the number one thing to do number one is to stop giving money. Number two is to report it. So, Michael, I see are you back on? That concludes our presentation. I know we have some questions. Do you want me to take those now, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, if you, did you have them in front of you? Want me to ask them? It's totally up to you there, Donna.
Sure, I have them, so I can, or you can ask them, or whatever you prefer. I don't mind.
Well, we only have time for a couple, because that was a fantastic presentation, and I'm so glad that we went through that. And I also want to make sure that that we have just a minute or so to kind of share the do's and don'ts of our shredding event, which is also this Saturday. We want to make sure everybody remembers that if you want to, it does require that you pre-register. It is free, and it's right here. It's in Garden City at 2 Endo Boulevard. And if you go to liherald.com/shred, you have a chance to sign up for that. Donna, so if how would you report someone who's trying to convince like an elderly man into marriage in order to obtain a green card? How would you report someone like that?
Michael, you just went over that. You want to talk about that again?
Sure. Like I said, so anything that relates to a marriage fraud is really would go through the Department of Homeland Security, the USCIS, U.S. Citizens and Immigration Services. I believe it's uscis.gov, and on there they have a wealth of forms to report any that type of fraud, or if it's something else, they have phone numbers and they'll point you in other directions to do that as well. I mean, Federal Trade Commission, again, if it's not like a one-on-one individual you're dealing with, but it's some sort of scam that you see, you can go to the federal, ftc.gov. Local authorities as well would be places that you could go.
And I guess and a real big question about this, and especially when we're learning about all of this, is that it seems that there's so much information out there that when we hear about these scams, that people say, oh, how can somebody fall for that? But it's true. You don't have it's super smart people who are savvy on the internet. Don, they can actually fall for these scams pretty easily, right? This is not like something like, people should have known, but
yeah,
but
it's totally true. Like you could be the smartest person. I mean, we've had doctors, we've had lawyers who have fallen for scams. Like, it's just because you're well educated doesn't mean that you don't fall for a scam. I mean, again, it's very easy to fall prey to, because some are very good, some are very convincing. There's definitely the flip side too, right? Where you may encounter someone and they're pretending to be someone that they're not. So they make you think they're a multimillionaire. I think there's actually a couple of TV shows that you have to guess which one's the real millionaire and which
Tinder
one's not.
swindler.
Yeah, or the Tinder swindler. I mean, that was a Netflix. I didn't catch the whole thing, but the premise is the same. This individual is pretending to be a billionaire. He made up a fake identity. Of an individual, sorry, not a fake identity, but he stole someone's identity, that he was a billionaire, or the billionaire of a son. He photoshopped photos of himself in family photos that were posted online. So again, if it's too good to be true, I mean, yeah, he may fly you on a jet and take you here and take you there, but things are moving too quickly. Something's just not right. And then ultimately the biggest red flag should be where if you're a billionaire or a millionaire and you're asking for someone who makes an average salary for money because all your money's been frozen, there's definitely something wrong. So just have to find those red flags or tune into those red flags. But sometimes you just get enthralled in the romance and the imagination of this is happening to me and it's
Michael,
great and I love it. And, yeah.
Michael, I have a question for you. So what are the dating sites doing about this? I mean, they're aware that this is happening. Is there some sort of romance commission, a romance scan commission that all the popular dating sites should be aware of? Are they vetting people correctly? What can be done at that point? Has that been discussed?
Yeah, I mean, not with law enforcement directly. I mean, certainly if everybody, like any of these social media sites, dating sites, they have their checks and balances. So they do have safeguards that are built in, or everybody tries to do the best that they can do with the safeguards, right? Like requiring vetting process before you could go on their site. But unfortunately, like anything, a good scammer can make a fake identity, can make a fake profile, and get up there. But I know the dating sites certainly will try, and if they get any complaints or if they monitor their site, so if they start to see inappropriate content, they will take down those profiles, and they will lock out anything if there's been like a complaint against them. But yeah, it's hard, right? Because
Yeah, there should be a PSA campaign on this, and those dating sites should be supporting that, and kind of getting the word out to people that you can be part of this dating site, but please know the following flags that you should know, and be aware of.
And they may very well.
We have to all help each other, right? So
I have not been there. I looked at them recently, but I know they are trying more and more to vet people. Again, there are some sites that kind of offer different services, so they don't really vet people. Just depends what you're looking for. But certainly, I mean, I think nowadays. The word has gotten out there, the message has gotten out there, or is getting out there to try to avoid having people being victimized on these dating sites. But again, it could just happen on Facebook, right? Like somebody might message you on Facebook or Instagram and then start a conversation there because they saw something in your profile.
Right.
And you may start a relationship that way without dating sites. So yeah, it's I think the technology companies, they try and do the best that they can do, but it's really up to the individual. I mean, you have to kind of let a calmer head prevail instead of falling into this whole web of a fantasy world. We all want the light at the end of the tunnel or the rainbow, and but unfortunately, sometimes that does happen, but you'll get there in due time. If it's going to happen, it's not going to happen right off the bat. We just have to be careful as individuals not to fall into these traps. Again, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
And those scammers know. And those scammers know that when we become smitten, when we fall in love, that all reason sometimes goes out the window. So
exactly,
bamboozled, right? So
That's very true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this can happen at any age, right? I mean, so here we are with AARP. We want to talk to our 50 plus community, but this can happen at a very young age. You can be scammed, romantically, you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s. So please.
Well, and again, like I said, especially now with the pandemic. I mean, thankfully, it seems that we're getting there. But before that, for a year or so, with people being out of work, people being locked down, confined to their homes, like what other source do you have? You have a computer, you have streaming TV, so you're I think it kind of spiked in the 2020 to 2021 2022 timeframe, because there was a lot more social media going on, a lot more posting, a lot more interaction, just for that need to interact with others. But yeah, I mean, AARP has some great stuff on their website about romance scams, about meeting up with people, the do's and don'ts of romance scams. So that's a wealth of information too.
And thank you all. And this is it's so great to have this whole series with AARP New York, with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, Donna Harris, Michael Delgudije. Thank you so much. And Bernard, did you want to say anything else here before we wrap up?
I just want to remind everybody that we have our shredding event this Saturday. Michael, you've said this already, but I want to make sure that people are paying attention to the fact that it is this Saturday, April 30th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is in person. And we are limiting people to 3 grocery bags per car. It's a free drive-through contactless shredding event, but you need to register in advance to reserve your spot. liherald.com/shred, and I hope to see you there.
Great, and I hope everybody's there. And Donna, Michael, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we can do this all again. We'll all get together again.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Donna. This has just been a wonderful series, and we couldn't do it without you. All
Thank
good
you.
information. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye now.